Susan Rice has emerged as a top VP contender for former Vice President Joe Biden. But President Trump says Rice has a lot of baggage and may be liable for prosecution. Listen to this.
They use the intelligence agencies of our country to spy on my campaign, and they have been caught. And there are a lot of people involved. I don't want to say how much she's involved. Frankly, if he chooses her, that's fine, but that's a potential liability.
For more on the possibility of a Susan Rice running mate and the other women on the VP shortlist, we welcome Bobby Eberle, a Republican strategist and host of 13-Minute News Hour. Also joining us, Lori A. Watkins, former Obama advisor and Democratic strategist. And it's always a lively debate with you two, so let's get right into it. Lori, we'll start with you. Susan Rice on the shortlist. Do you think she would be chosen, as President Trump suggests, to cover up what those in the Obama administration knew about the Russia investigation?
I'm sorry, Emma. That's kind of laughable, that question, in fact, because Susan Rice, she was involved at the very beginning of putting out an email that while she was still in the Trump administration, in the Obama administration on January 20th, alerting the intelligence agency that Michael Flynn was having inappropriate conversations with Russian entities and Russian officials. We went through an entire impeachment hearing testimony where none of this was brought up, because the unredacted version of that entire report still is not being released by the Republicans, because if you did release it, you would see, in fact, that she had nothing to do with this. There was no impropriety. Everything was transparent, and Susan Rice did exactly what she was told to do.
And yet she was one who had wanted to unmask Michael Flynn during that time. So, Bobby, I want to get your reaction to this, but also just want to let our viewers know that Susan Rice might actually be closer to the pick than we think, because just this morning the DNC had released their speaker lineup for next week for their virtual convention. Speaking Wednesday night is the unnamed vice presidential nominee. Speaking Thursday night, Senator Kamala Harris. So, Bobby, is it Susan Rice? And if it is, what baggage might that bring?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm not sure if she's the pick. You know, she recently sold, what, $300,000 worth of Netflix stock, as this is getting closer, has met with the vice president. So if she's the pick, though, it's so good for us, because she is a lightning rod. Dana Milbank over at the Washington Post wrote about her just last week, saying Obama administration officials didn't even like her. Plus, there's this baggage with Michael Flynn, the whole Russia investigation, but then there's Benghazi, too. Can you imagine a campaign commercial where all they have to do is news outlet after news outlet, her saying, oh, you know what, that was a YouTube video. Americans died. It was a YouTube video, over and over and over again. She's got baggage on Benghazi. She's got baggage on Russia. And she will be a great target in this era where people are just, they're fatigued, they're burned out, and to bring someone controversial like that, I think it's a plus for the Trump campaign.
Of course, we're still waiting for that official announcement. Potentially Joe Biden's getting a bit closer, but we do know that he's been advised by black leaders to pick a woman of color. In fact, black leaders in the party wrote this in an open letter saying, quote, failing to select a black woman in 2020 means you will lose the election. We don't want to choose between the lesser of two evils, and we don't want to vote the devil we know versus the devil we don't, because we're tired of voting for devils, period. Lori, these are insulting words, comparing women who are not black to devils. Why not pick the person most qualified for the job, regardless of race or even gender?
The wonderful thing about this scenario that we have, not just as Democrats, but as Americans, is that every single woman on that slate that is being considered for the vice presidential nomination is extremely experienced, has extreme knowledge and wherewithal of how this should work. The number one thing that Joe Biden is going to be looking for, though, is the person that complements him, complements his policies, complements how he plans to lead this nation starting on day one. And I'm looking forward to who that person is, and it shouldn't be based on color or gender, but we do have a slate of incredibly brilliant women that are going to be, one of them is going to be chosen, and I'm going to be pleased with any of the women that he picks.
Yeah, but Bobby, I'm wondering if he does feel that certain pressure to pick a woman of color, a black woman, to be that VP role. And it makes you wonder if it's insulting to whoever he picks because they're just chosen by default to appease, clearly, the members who wrote, members of the Democratic Party who wrote that letter demanding it.
Right, yeah, and in this case, I 100% agree with Lori. It should not be based on race or gender, yet it is. Maxine Waters comes out and says there's no way he's not picking a black woman. It's going to be a black woman as VP. Yet, what does that say about the person actually picked? This is why I've always had a problem with these minority preferences and racial quotas for hiring, because how good does that make you feel if you're picked just to fill a slot? They should go for the best candidate. But for the last couple of months, as Biden's been saying, oh, it's going to be a woman, it's going to be a black woman, that doesn't say a lot about the person he actually picks, especially when they're as controversial as Kamala Harris or Susan Rice or some of these others that are in the running. Any one of them, I think, will make a good target for the Trump campaign.
Well, we do know, I think we can all agree on this time, that the VP pick is going to be so important, maybe compared to any election before this I can think of, because, you know, and Americans agree with that. In fact, a Rasmussen poll found that 59% actually think that Joe Biden won't finish a 4-year term. So, you know, that would insinuate that a VP pick is very crucial at this time. Right. So, Lori, I'll ask you, are you in that 59%? And why do you think it is that there's such a lack of confidence in Biden's ability to serve a 4-year term?
Well, let's get this straight. Let's fight the narrative that the media is putting out there that it's because Joe Biden is not capable of serving 4 years. He has said that he does not plan on running for re-election after his first 4-year term. So this person could be one heartbeat away. But let's look at the current situation. Mike Pence is one heartbeat away. Everybody in this world is one heartbeat away from a potential accident or something happening to them. That's why we should feel grateful every day that we wake up and we're able to be here on this earth. But besides that, 45% of people polled said that they didn't even care who his nominee was because they just wanted Donald Trump out of there. So let's talk about that fact as well, because I think that's pretty interesting given this new information coming out of this poll today.
Well, that would echo the same thing Speaker Pelosi said. I think we played that soundbite just the other day. So she'd be in agreement with that. Of course, the whole anyone but Trump is clearly what Democrats are running on at this point. And Bobby, it makes you wonder why there's such a lack of confidence in potentially Joe Biden's role as president here, that he would be able to fill those that 4-year term if he was to be elected.
Right. And you know what? When they were going through the presidential primaries, I was always thinking, you know, the left, they really want to rally around Bernie Sanders, and the moderates, you know, middle of the road folks are going to go for Biden. Joe Biden is ending up being the dream candidate for the far left because he is just an empty suit. He's not all there. And in that poll, 38% of folks, including 20% of Democrats, think he already has some form of dementia. 1 in 5 Democrats think their presidential nominee is losing it. I mean, that doesn't say a lot about the party that they're rallying around, but the far left sure loves this candidate because they'll know they'll be able to push an agenda through and then carry on with whoever the vice president is that ends up taking over for Biden.
Yeah, not to mention his reaction to what happened when he was asked if he'd taken a cognitive test. I think we can all remember how that played out.
Exactly.
Great conversation as always. Bobby Eberle, Lori A. Watkins, thank you.
Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.